and welcome to my podcast, Light and Dove Knits. My name is Whitney, and this is a knitting and crochet podcast, and possibly a future sewing podcast. I haven't dabbled in sewing yet, but I do want to learn. I do have a sewing machine, which I haven't played with yet, but there is going to be some sewing in the future. So this is episode 7. And I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for dropping by. I'm really thankful that you came. So thank you for returning viewers, and thank you for people who are checking out my podcast for the first time. Just thank you so much. Hopefully you like it, and it's important to know to subscribe. It helps me a lot. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram handle is Light Dove Knits. I have everything in the bottom in case you want to follow me. I'm almost at actually 200 followers on Instagram, so that's pretty neat. So thank you for being here today. Welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hopefully the light is okay. I'm actually filming this in the afternoon on a Friday, and everything's quiet right now. My baby's asleep, so I find time to actually do a podcast today. Yeah, so it's been a long time for me since recording a podcast. I haven't actually had any motivation to knit, crochet, podcast. I've been kind of lingering in the background in my Instagram account lately, not been posting much. I don't think I even posted anything in the month of July. I just been at a creative funk lately, maybe a burnout. I noticed some people in the knitting community are experiencing the same thing. Maybe. So I don't have a lot of whips actually. I have a lot of FOs to show and some acquisitions. That's always fun. And also a couple future knits that I really have an eye on for me to knit in the future. And I'm really excited for that. So let's get started. Actually, I don't want to keep you too long. Since I haven't been podcasting, I don't want to make it an hour-long podcast. I'm going to try to move quickly, but I also like talking to you guys. So this segment is called Finished Objects. So these are my FOs. So I have 5 finished objects to show you today. Well, some of them are I have them, and some of them I don't, because I'm already gave them out already. But I want to show you my first one. These actually, if you see my last podcast, these will look really familiar because it was a finished object and a whip. So I'm going to just put one on because it's really hot. So yeah, these are the Bernie mittens. You know, those famous mittens that Bernie Sanders wore at the inauguration. So yeah, I love the color work. It was really easy. I mean, you can also look at my past episode to talk so you can hear more about it. But I have all the information right here. But yeah, this is the Bernie Mittens by Emily O'Brien. I do love her work. And I also have a future knit for that, for a pair of socks, which I talked about it in the prior episodes. So either subscribe, look at my past episodes, or look for future episodes, so that way you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, these are just made in big twist yarn in chocolate brown, camel, white, and then the more of the tan color. That's the Red Heart colorway buff. So yeah, with that color, I have like a big skein, so I'm trying to get rid of that as much as possible with my other objects. But yeah, these are being shipped off to a friend of mine. And so hopefully they like them. I just need to give them a good wash and a good block, so that'll be fun. So yeah, this is actually really easy. I love the color work. Very simple. The pattern is good. I think the pattern is free. For the winter, for those cold months, you should make these gloves. Like, I wish I could make them for myself. Maybe I'll just make one glove for decor maybe, because I live in California. I hate the snow, and it doesn't get really cold here. So I have no use for mittens or gloves. Maybe some places, but I'm not gonna wear them as often, like once a year maybe. but this is a fun knit to make. So yeah, that's one down. And then fortunately I don't have this next project I worked on. I have worked on this next project before. I'm in episode 5. It's called Timothy the T-Rex. I'll put up a photo right here. Isn't he really cute? So far I made 3 of them. I made one in green with the darker green stripes. The second one was a purple with dark purple stripes. And then this one is actually a red dinosaur with blue stripes. It was for a little boy. My mother-in-law asked me if I can make one for, I think a coworker's child, I believe. Someone. But it was for a little kid, so. And they love dinosaurs, so which I think I might have to make one for my little one. I've been meaning to make some stuff for her, but it's been hard this past month. But anyways, but yeah, Timothy the T-Rex. It's really, really cute. If you know how to crochet, I highly recommend making one because it's really simple. You can just knit it, crochet it in a day. That's how easy the pattern is. It's by Kelsey Liggett. She's on Etsy under the name Blue Phone Studios. I believe she also has an Instagram too, but I bought the pattern off of her Etsy page. So I highly recommend it. I just used Red Heart Super Saver yarn in red and cherry red and blue. And I did use hook size 3.75 millimeters, which is a size F. So it came out to like, yeah, that big. So I'll show you the picture again in case you want to look at it. But yeah, it worked up really nice. And I think I need to make a whole army of dinosaurs for my oldest daughter, because I don't know if this might be the first episode you've seen, but I mentioned it before. I have two daughters, but my oldest one, well, she's 3. My youngest one is 19 months now, a year and a half. And my oldest one, she loves dinosaurs. Triceratops is her favorite dinosaur, but she loves anything dinosaur related. So whenever time I knit something, knit or crochet or like a doll, she thinks it's hers. Like, oh, it's my dinosaur, it's my whatever. But well, like, no, it's for someone else. But I think I might have to make something for her. I do have to make something for her. So another thing I've been worked on, and also I'm working on, is actually these are really exciting. I already posted this on my Instagram account because this was actually a test knit. This was actually my very first test knit. And that was actually one of my New Year's resolutions this year, is to learn new things. So one of them being a test knitter, which I find it really enjoyable. These are called the Funny Pair Socks by Kelsey Garner. She's her Instagram account is, I'll put her name on the bottom of her Instagram account. It's a knitting Nikabi. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. I'm bad at pronouncing things, so hopefully, but her name is Kelsey Garner. And I was so happy that I got picked because I wasn't sure, because this is my first time doing it. The pattern was actually really nice to do. My other resolution was doing a color work. Obviously doing the burning stuff was like one of the first things I ever did, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm like pro color work from now on pretty much. But these were actually pretty neat. I really like these socks. I think I found them really unique, kind of my style, because I like things different, quirky. And so yeah, these are my very first test knit. These are called the Funny Pair Socks. As you can see, they're kind of funny pair because of how the colors are switched. Since it's working with 2 colors, this is the contrasting color and this is the main color, the dark purple, whereas we start off with the different color, the purple here, and then with the gray as the main color. So yeah, these are really, really neat. So here's that one sock, and here's the other one. So obviously this is a gusset, heel and gusset. What's it called? My favorite one is the Eye of Partridge, because I find that one is really, really pretty. But I do want to try the fish lips heel and some other one. I forgot which one they're called, but yeah. But this is really neat. Color work. The needle size that I used was a 2.75 millimeter, which is a US size 2. And the yarn I used, I always have a hard time saying the main color and the contrasting color because sometimes it switches from one sock to the other one. But the purple one is, I got this at my local yarn store. It's called Buku Yarns, and this is in the colorway Rapture. I think it's a 75-25, so superwash wool and nylon. I really, really liked it. I showed this before on my podcast, but this is the one where my husband, I think, bought this for my birthday, I believe. But he knows I love yarn, so yeah, kudos to him. And then the gray one is actually a Patton's Croy yarn in the colorway Gray Marl, which is a 75-25, I believe. I think. But yeah, I find these really enjoyable. I really want another pair, and so stay tuned. Wink, wink. So yeah, that's that one. Yeah, so I urge you to get the pattern. It just released last Friday, which was, well, last Friday for me. So I don't know when I'll be publishing this video. So I believe it was today's the 13th, Friday, so whatever the week before that is, that's when it was released. So yeah, get yourself the pattern. So for my next project, I talked about this in my last couple of podcasts because I haven't started it yet at that time, but I finally finished it between my last podcast and this one. So this is actually called The Toy Fox by Marianne Anderson. So here's the picture. It actually turned out really well. This is actually my first time doing a knitted doll. I'm still, well, let me talk about like the deets, but well, the needle size I used, it's a paid for pattern, so I can't really go into detail about the fox, but the needle size I used is a 3.5 millimeter, which is a US size 4. Okay, I know the orange for the fox, I used Lion Brand's Basic Stitch in Pumpkin. I'm unsure about I used black and white, but I believe it might be Lion Brand as well, but it was not branded or anything, but so I'm unsure. As for DK weight yarn, but I think it turned out okay. But yeah, so that's the fox. I actually finished it. It was actually for a 2-year-old boy who really loves fox, so that's really cute. As for the fox itself, this is actually my first knitted, like I said, first knitted doll. So I'm unsure about knitted dolls. They look really cute. I mean, I've seen other people's work. I mean, beautiful work. I'm just not used to it. That's probably why. I don't think it's the pattern. The pattern itself, there was a couple things that were I found confusing, but I was able to work around it. But that might have been me and not the pattern. I'm not sure, but it was also my first time, so there was just a lot of things to get used to because I'm used to doing amigurumi dolls and crochet. So I'm gonna try to give it another try to knit dolls, so to see if I like it. I know there's a bear that I really want to make by because I watched that podcast, Bakery Bears. I know she does which I forgot her name, but she does like a knitted doll, and it's really, really cute, and I want to make it because they're teddy bears. It's really cute. So hopefully the toy fox isn't gonna hinder me. The experience I had doesn't hinder me. I'm not saying like the pattern is bad. It's just like, yeah, it was just hard to get used to, like I said. So we'll see how my future goes in knitted dolls. Instead of putting safety eyes, I actually embroidered the eyes, which actually was really I've done embroidered eyes before because like he was 2 years old, so I had to make sure whether it was okay to do embroidery eyes because sometimes the patterns don't suggest doing the safety eyes just in case they fall out, just because for safety reasons, choking hazard, all that stuff. You don't want to do safety eyes if it's gonna pop out someday. So I wondered if I should have done and I asked if I could do a embroidered eyes instead, if they thought it was a good idea. So I did embroidered eyes. It took me a couple times. I've done it before, but with the fox and how it was, the first time I did it, the fox looked mean, but then after trying a couple times, it looked way better than before. So it looked like a nice fox. So yeah, the pattern, I'll probably give it like a 7 out of 10, but I think that's mostly user error mainly, so I'm not used to it. So that's that. So it was a good experience. So always try to do new things because you never know if you're gonna like it or not. So, and as for my next project, this is actually my last finished object that I'm gonna show you today. I've done this project before. I think I don't remember which episode. It's been a long time. I don't remember. I think it's in my second or third podcast episodes. I don't remember, but maybe I'll link it. See if I can remember. But I've done it for a friend of mine, and then I posted it on Instagram, and one of my other friends wanted it too, so I didn't mind because it was a really simple project. I mean, you can do this in a day as well. It's a crochet project. It's called the We Care Fruit Net. So it looks small, but obviously it stretches. But yeah, and then it has a little string for the little net. So yeah, it's really, really cute. And the person that originally bought it, she uses it for apples, and they turn out really, really cute. This pattern is by Hobby Yarn, which I've been wanting to get their yarn for a while. So hopefully in the future I'll do some yarn shopping and buy some yarn and try out the yarn. But yeah, but this is the pattern that's on that website. All the information that I'm giving you, I'll put it down below in the description box in case you want to knit your own fruit net or other projects that I'm working on. The yarn I used, it was Aunt Lydia's crochet thread in size 10, I believe, but in white, obviously. and in hook size E, which is a 3.5 millimeter hook. So yeah, I like it. I like the little bottom. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, here's like where I started from here and then worked my way up to make the little drawstring bag, and then the string separately, and then yeah, into a little pouch. It's a free pattern. You should make your own fruit net. Yeah, it's just really simple. It's really easy. Okay, so that's the end of that segment. That's all of my, let's see, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's all 5 of my FOs. I have just a few whips to show, but they're fun. They're fun whips. So I mentioned before in my last episode that I'm entering into a Cowl, a knit along by Pippin Pin. I don't know if you watched her podcast before, but she does have, her name is Megan Nodecker, and along with her sister, her sister works behind the scenes, and then Megan does the podcasting. But she sells some patterns on her website and other websites as well, I believe. But she's on Instagram as well under Pippin Pin. But she's hosting a Cowl up to, I think, the end of August. So hopefully I'll be able to finish it by then. But I don't know if you have to finish it. I'm not sure. I have to look into the rules again. But I'm doing her pattern called the Mount Pleasant Tea. It is a paid for pattern, so I can't do much of the details for it. But yeah, isn't it pretty? I don't know if the light's plan on blowing. It looks lighter in the screen, but it's a little darker green. But yeah, look at the bottom. It's a bottom up top. Hello. I love it. It's a simple pattern. Like, it has like a little decor right here, and then it's just straight stockinette stitch. Then you have to split for the sleeves. This is actually my first ever top I'm gonna make for myself, and I'm so excited to knit this top because actually I really like this pattern because it's really simple, very elegant. I find it really, like, I don't know, it's just really simple, but yet classic, I guess. I don't know, I'm trying to what to say, but it looks really, really pretty. And also, being my first top, I wanted to make it simple, or I wanted to be a simple knit, so it's not too complicated, because I'm learning how to do a top by myself, and how to split for the seams or the sleeves, and so it'll be interesting. I didn't want anything complicated. I mean, the tops are not that complicated, but I don't think. And the yarn that I used is it's called a Knit Picks Hawthorn and the colorway Conifer. Love this pattern in this color. I did use a size 4. I think in the pattern it says to use size needles. I use size 4 and a size 5 for the larger part, or for the body. But as I didn't swatch for this sweater, for this top, I mean, which you should, which I, especially a knitted garment such as this, I just knitted it up as I went, and if I needed to go back, then I went. That's what I just did. So I made this top using the suggested needle size, which was a size 4 for the smaller size for the bottom, which was like the lacy part. But then when I was knitting up the body with the size 5 needles, I wasn't hitting gauge. I think because I'm also learned about myself is that I tend to knit tightly. So when I was doing it, I measured everything, and I think I was getting too many stitches. So that means like I have to go back. I wasn't too far, but you know how ripping it. I didn't frog it. I tinked it. So that way I had to start over. But then I moved up a size to a size 6, which is a 4 millimeter. So then I was hitting gauge. So yeah, and also I saw some notes on some other people's projects saying that they did move up to a size 6. Not all, some, but so yeah. But I'm hitting gauge, so I'm really, really excited. I'm also using, because I'm supposed to split later on for the sleeves later on. This is to keep track of the middle row. You know how some people use stitch markers and they just use the regular ball pins. I like to use like the cutesy ones, the little cutesy charms. And I found this on Etsy, the Yarn Candy Studio on Etsy. I follow her on Instagram, so I highly suggest you look at her shop. She has a lot of cute stuff. But this is a little teapot progress keeper, and then along with that I had 4 other stitch markers that match this set. So it was like a set. Sorry that I'm squinting. I don't have my glasses on because of the reflection of the light from the light that I use for podcasting. So I'm a really bad. I'm really bad at looking at stuff when I don't have my glasses on. Yeah, so that. So I'm really enjoying the knit. So right now it's just stocking knit, so it's just like straight up, just repetitive stuff. But it's actually really nice and neat. It's calm. I dropped a stitch. Doing some knitting surgery. Fixed. No more drop stitches. Oh yeah, I'm podcasting. I don't know, it's just fun to knit. Even though it's repetitive a lot, it's kind of meditative as well. It's like something you don't have to think that much. But yeah, it's my first knitted top, and I'll be wearing it every single day. Just kidding. But of course, that'll be one of my first tops, but I'm gonna be wearing it as soon as I'm done. Once it's off the needles, and of course I'll block it and all that stuff, and then I'll be wearing it even if I'll be at the house all day, because I'm so excited that I'll be finished with it. But either way, this is a learning experience for me. If I make mistakes, then I'll learn for the next time what not to do and what to do for next time. So please subscribe to my channel so you can see my finished object once I'm done with my top. My other whip, I'm actually carrying this whip in my, I bought this at Joann's. I was at the checkout line and it just caught my eye, and like, I must have it now. It's like one of those reusable bags, those use forever. But yeah, because there are a bunch of like woodland creatures on it, I was like, oh, this is so cute with flowers. I'm like, oh, this is like my style. So I like flowers and stuff like this. So yeah, so I'm using it for my socks. Like I said before, I really like the funny pair of socks, and once I was done with the first pair, I really wanted to make another pair. Because I'm crazy like that, but no, because I really love the pattern, and I have the perfect yarn for it. And this was actually my very first, I was gonna use this yarn for the test knit, but I decided against it and went with the other colors, because I thought that the colors are too matchy. Like the whole concept of the funny pair of socks, it was like, she wasn't the pattern designer, the Kelsey Garner. She was inspired by Fox and the Hound, because like and how they were like best friends, and then like uncommon friendships. So she used uncommon color pairings for these socks. So I thought the purple and the gray was fine, but I thought the one I originally picked was kind of, I don't know, just too close. But either way, I was just really hooked on the yarn and the pattern, so I really wanted to make it no matter what with that yarn. But yeah, so here's my second pair of funny pair of socks. I'm only on my first sock. Isn't it really pretty? Because it's not really, like, for me, it doesn't look like a funny pair of socks, because this, especially for a test knit, because you would want to follow the rules for a test knit. But like, obviously gray and purple, different, but they go together. But I felt like this one was too, like with the second color I used, was like, it really matched this one, because there are places where it was too matchy, like right here, it goes into the pink, or there's too like dark, stuff like that. So really doesn't pop out as much. You can totally tell there's like a pattern here, but just because of how the yarn is so variegated, it was too matchy for me. But so I still really wanted this the colors for this particular pattern. So yeah, so here they are. And plus for me, I tend to not go for longer socks, like kind of go up the calf or midway, I guess. But I thought that I made them a little bit shorter, so kind of a little bit above the ankle. So I think that would be neat for the winter time. So yeah, I really am enjoying this. I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to make a second pair. As for I use same needles I used before, same size, a size 2, US size 2, 2.75 millimeter. I'm not used to millimeter. I don't know the numbers for millimeters. I tend to write it down. But the yarn I used was Knit Pick Stroll. It's a fingering weight, 75/25, superwash merino and nylon, and in the colorway Hollyberry. And as for the second one, the variegated one, I showed this yarn to you before in my past podcast. I went to my favorite local yarn store, which is Buku Yarns in Laverne, and they had like a treasure stash, where it was just a variety of different yarns, not like specific to their store, but I don't know, it was just a stash of just random yarns. So this is actually, the yarn is called, sorry if it's not coming in clearly, I don't know if you can tell, but it says Homespun House. I don't know if you've watched her podcast before. She's really big in the knitting community. Her yarns are very, very beautiful. She She does have a podcast. Her name is Molly. I highly suggest you follow her. But this is a fingering weight yarn in the colorway Mr. Darcy's Letter, which I love. Pride and Prejudice. I love Mr. Darcy. The Keira Knightley one. I think I've seen the Colin Firth one, but I really want to rewatch that one. But yeah, I can't wait to wear them in the winter. Obviously not now, because it's the summer. It's like 90 degrees outside, really sunny. I hate the heat. I hate summer. That's where I'm at. That's where I stand. I don't like the summer. Do you like summer? Let me know in the comments. My favorite season is fall, but it's still kind of warm. But I do like spring, because that's when it's still kind of cool weather. The flowers are in bloom. There's a lot of rain. So I love spring / fall, because fall represents like going into like spooky season, Halloween, and all that stuff. Hocus pocus, practical magic, all that fun stuff when you get to October. So I can't wait for this year. And I have a couple projects I want to do for spooky season, but that'll be for my next podcast. I'll show you later. And then my other whip, which I haven't really worked on, I've talked about this before. It's in my Tired Moms Club bag. So my other whip is called Paco the Peacock. It's by Amigurumi Today. I used a hook size F. I think it said for the pattern to use a size E, and I thought moving up one more size would be better, but I think I might have to go down to an E, because I feel like it's gonna be too big. I started this like 2-3 months ago, and this is how far I got. And I'm looking at the head thinking it might be really big, so I don't know. So I think I might have to downsize. But yeah, this is supposed to be a peacock. I'm making this for my daughter. There's a little arboretum that we go in my area. Oh, not my area. It's 20 minutes away. It's on Arcadia, and it's called the LA Arboretum. And then there's a bunch of like wildlife. You see peacocks roaming around, because that's where we see them at the arboretum. And my daughter loves peacocks from afar. She hates being close to them, but she talks about them nonstop. But when we get there and sees a peacock, she gets scared. But she loves them. So I plan to make a little amigurumi doll for her. But I have to start all over and maybe go down to a size E, like what the pattern calls for. Everything is just random yarn that I have, like Lion Brand, this color, and then I have Red Heart in the color Peacock. And then I know this is Red Heart, but I just don't remember the colorway. Yeah, so there's that. I'll get that done pretty soon. Yeah, but that's all for my whips. I only have a little bit. I have a lot of stuff that I need to do because some people ask me if they can make this, and of course I would say yes. I don't mind making stuff for other people, but I got an excess of stuff. And then obviously I've mentioned before that I have a burnout, so it's kind of hard for me to get going and get the motivation to actually do them. So I apologize if you're watching this and if you're waiting for something from me. I apologize. That's the truth. I'm having a little bit of a burnout, but hopefully, and other things that are kind of going on emotionally. But I'll get into that. I'll get into like my other projects in the future. Sorry, that's like from the yarn. I'm done with my whips. I'm done with my FOs. My next segment is called acquisitions. The fun part, because I love getting new stuff. Hear that little crackling sound? I don't mind the crackling sound, because some other people in the podcast, they apologize. It'd probably be too loud if you're listening on your headphones maybe, but I don't mind it. I like the little crinkle, 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 because that means that's good stuff that's inside this bag right now. So there's this person that I follow. She dyes yarns. She's a yarn dyer. She goes by the name of Teeny Button Studios. I mentioned her before because I did buy a yarn from her a while back, because she just did the Golden Girls collection. And if you don't know, I am a big fan of the Golden Girls. I rewatch them all the time because they're so funny. So it was a pre-order, so I really wanted a mini skein set, but darn it, I waited too long and all of them were sold out. So it was called Thank You for Being a Friend. It was really pretty. I really want to buy one more because I really want to make a top with that. So we'll see. Hopefully she still has it. If not, that's fine. I can make it into socks or something. She announced that she was gonna have another pre-order, she still had some stuff left over. She got more, or I don't know how it happened, but she had more stuff to to sell of the Golden Girl collection yarn. So, and I found out she was selling the mini skeins. So guess what I got in this bag, because you know in Golden Girls it's about palm trees, and because they live in Florida. So this is what I got. So this is the Golden Girls mini skein set. And this, look at how pretty these are. I can't wait. Look how pretty. So, okay, so these are superwash merino and nylon. So the first yarn, it's called Shady Pines Ma. This one is Sicily, 1922. Like, you know, like Sophia, picture it, Sicily. This is the one I have in a full skein. Thank you for being a friend. And then this one is Rose, or it's called Back in St. Olaf. That's where Rose lived. And then this one is on the lanai. So I can't wait to work with these. It's so pretty. So here's her card. So I'm gonna ask you, viewers. I'm also gonna you can put it down in the comment, your answers in the comments, or my Instagram. I'm gonna put a little poll in the next week or so. There's a couple things I want to do with them, but I'm not sure what I should do. Okay, should I make socks with them, or should I keep it for a blanket? Because I am planning to do a cozy memory blanket. I don't have a whole lot of fingering weight yarn to make a cozy memory blanket just yet. I mean, I have to do a little. I'm building up slowly, surely. I'm gonna build it up. But should I save these for a cozy memory blanket? Do I have enough for socks and then a memory blanket? I don't know how that works. But what should I do? I'll put like a little poll or something in the future, or even put down in the comments what I should do with them, because these are so perfect. I love them. I want them to be like in a good project, something I can see and say, oh, look how pretty they are. But yeah, so let me know what you think. Speaking of a homespun house, I do follow her on Instagram, so every once in a while she has a giveaway, and I enter a bunch of giveaways all day every day trying to get that yarn. But she did a giveaway and I won. I actually won a giveaway. I won like long time ago. Obviously I haven't done this in a while, but I just wanted to show you what I won. I got so excited. Here's what I won. Recently found out what OOAK meant, because I don't know, but I found out what it was. It's one of a kind yarn. Here's what I got. Look at this color. I keep on looking at different spots. Sorry, I'm not used to. I haven't been in front of a camera in a while, so it's a long. I don't know where to look sometimes. But yeah, it's a beautiful color. It's a fingering weight yarn in Nurture, 75/25 nylon, merino and nylon, 50 grams, hand dyed in Germany. This one doesn't have a label on it, so I'm assuming, like, I thought this was the same color, but it's a shade. It's different. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to look up on her website to see what it is or what she put for the colorway. But it's really, really pretty. This one isn't labeled either, but here's this one. Well, it's one of a kind, I guess, like random ones, I'm guessing, that she did or something. I don't know. But look, pretty. It's pretty. I don't care. It's yarn. And then a little one, soft sock fingering. This one is in barley. It's a 20G. But yeah, I won a giveaway, and this is nice. I love it. As you can tell, I like to sing a lot. You know what? No, I don't, but well, I do like to sing. But I don't know why I'm singing a lot right now. But look at how pretty they are. That's why I won a giveaway. Let me know in the comments what I should do with these. These are really, really nice and pretty. Okay, so I was browsing through my Instagram account, as always, each day. One of the accounts I follow, she also has a podcast as well. I'll put it down below, so you can follow her as well. Check her out. But she goes by the name of Naughty Yarnies. So she suggested something. She posted it a couple days ago. She recommended this, and I thought, that's actually a good idea. Maybe I should try it too. And I bought it, and I think I enjoy it because, well, this is what it's called. So you know what I'm talking about. These are called the Griply Rubber Ring Fingertip Grip. They come in 10 pieces. They actually come in handy, like you can turn the page with them. But I think you can use them for like quilting, sewing, just to have a good grip on things too, obviously, because they're called Griplies. So when I knit, I'm a thrower, but also I'm learning how to do continental. So when I knit, sometimes the needle poke me, and I get like somewhat like a callus on my finger. It's not, doesn't look callous, but you can tell that if it's, since it's repeated movement, repeated pokes, doesn't look good on the finger. So I used it a couple times. You just put it on your finger. And yeah, and then you just push the needle, and it doesn't obviously doesn't hurt you. And you can just push the needle, or just the way you knit. But it works well for me. So in general, it works well. But I am a thrower, so my yarn goes over my finger right here. But when I tried it, it's like I just find it awkward that I can't, since I'm not feeling the yarn and throwing it. It doesn't. I feel like it's not as. It just feels weird when I try to put the yarn over the needle and all that stuff. So it's making me do continental, which is actually fine by me. I really like it actually. But the way I'm holding it, I think it's actually called a Norwegian knit. I heard about the Norwegian purl, and I tried that a couple times, and I was just curious. I don't know what popped in my head, but I was like, I think this is Norwegian knitting, because what they do is like you knit like in the very tips of the needle. And so it's like really quick movement. So it's working well with me. So I highly recommend if you want to check this out. And I'm learning that it's not as callousy anymore, so that's nice. I did try them in medium. A lot of people say they moved up to a large because they are kind of a little bit tight and snug. I have small hands and I like them a little bit tight, but they weren't suffocating my finger, so that's good. But some people get the large. And lastly, the last acquisition that I got, this is her name. I have to do some research because I cannot for the life of me remember right now. But I saw a little reel that she did, and I was like, wow, that's easy. And she used because you know how when we weave in ends, you do your project and then you have to go back and weave in those ends. I weave as I go along, since I've done color work before, and I tend to use my left and right finger to do the color work. So I tend to know how to weave in as I go along to catch the yarn. But this was actually a good method that she showed. I bought a latch hook. Yeah, she used a latch hook to weave in her ends. I don't know how to do it because I have to, because it's like I just bought this, so I don't have any ends to weave in yet. I'm gonna look at that video, and I highly suggest you look at that video too. And it's really simple. From what I saw, it looks really simple. I just have to look at it again to make sure how it's done. And so make sure that I'm doing it right. So I'll let you know how it works. But yeah, that's all for my acquisitions. But I do have some future knitting that I want to talk about. So I don't know if you follow her, but I don't know her name, but her Instagram handle, it's Pacific Knot Co. on Instagram. And she just released a couple, well, I don't know how long ago, but I felt like her last two releases were really close together. I want to do I don't know how to say, this is the name of the pattern that I want to do. So yeah, like I want to say Amess T. I don't know. Let me know how it's supposed to be said. But yeah, I really want to make this this top. It's actually a reversible top. You can it's a V-neck, or it's a V-neck, or it's in the flat back here. But you can also switch it where you can have a V-neck on the back and then like a straight edge. I think it's a straight edge front or something, whatever. But it looks really nice, and I really want to make it. I just find it the construction. I just find it interesting how you can use it in two ways. And I already bought the yarn for it. I've seen some people use this yarn, so I was like, okay, I'll just go out to Joann's because I like Joann's. But yeah, this is the Bernat Softy cotton yarn in the colorway Warm Red. But I really like this color, so I can't wait to start knitting on that as soon as I'm done with my my knitted top. I'm gonna get started with this. And also, she also released just recently, I think yesterday, a couple days ago, she also released a pattern called the Granville tank. Like it's a tank top type of thing. I don't know. You can probably stretch it down to your waist. I think she has a little tummy showing, so it depends on how you want to make it. So it's spaghetti strap, a little bit of a V-neck right here, and then there's a certain way she did the brim or the bottom of the tank. They look like ridges to me. It's really, really nice, and I do want to make that one in the future. I haven't gotten any yarn for it. I haven't picked it out yet. I might, once I'm done with the podcast, I might go shopping. I'm gonna try in the future to do some have some like decor in the background where it's not like a blank wall and a plant, But my plants are thriving though. I'm not a plant mom, but these are pretty easy to take care of, and they're thriving. I mean, I guess I can talk about what I'm watching. I don't remember what I said on my last, because I remember I mentioned The Crown. I finished with that. Very good show. Can't wait for the new season that's supposed to come out. Watched The Queen's Gambit, which is a really good show. I think I watched that in a weekend. But it was a really, really good show. My dad saw it before me, and he was really telling me to watch it because it's so good, which it was. And then, right now, the show that we're watching, that I got my dad hooked on, I'm really behind on the times, but I'm finally watching the show Lost. My husband watched it before. He watched it in its entirety. I think only on Hulu, though. I don't know if he saw it live, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, this show was like what, 10 years ago? Or 2004 when it premiered? 2004, 2010. We just finished the first season last night. Man, it's so good. I just read like how it's critically acclaimed, but I can see why. But oh my gosh, if you haven't seen Lost, watch it. It's really, really good. The first season alone is just like, wow. From the first episode, it's like, oh my gosh, you have to watch more and more and more. They always leave you at the cliffhanger. There's a lot of questions to be answered. But I feel like there's more questions than answers at this point, because I think there's going to be questions that are going to be answered like in the way future. But so good, so I suggest you watch it. Are there any favorite shows that you like to watch? Oh, we're also watching American Horror Stories. I don't know if you guys are horror fans. We watched we started last I think I talked about this before, but last October we did a marathon from season 1 through whatever the recent season was. I watched it before. I watched it when Murder House was premiered the first time in 2011. But yeah, I really enjoyed this series, but really excited for the next season to come, season 10. But we've also been hooked on the stories, interesting stories. So the last one, episode 5, was really good with Billy Lord. Are you guys horror fans at all? That's it. That's enough about my life, because my life is pretty much boring at the moment. This is a new top. My favorite color, purple. I went to the Arboretum this morning. I'm so tired right now. After this podcast, I want to knock out, but no, I can't. But yeah, I went to the Arboretum this morning. It was really nice. It was really hot. I was trying to go as early as possible at 9 o'clock, but by I got there like at 9:15. But when it hit like 9:45, 10ish, that's when I was like, oh, it's really, really hard. I need to go home now. It's hot. But I really like and I'm really enjoying my walks, because I feel like I'm so stuck in the house at times, and it's just nice to get some fresh air. So maybe you should do that a couple times. Do whatever you guys like. Do some activities, maybe outside. I guess this is the thing where I knit and crochet so much that I'm kind of getting a burnout, and I'm trying to get into some different things that makes me want to knit again. Like I'm doing yoga. I bought a yoga mat. I'm getting myself out the door more often and just walking outside and get some fresh air early in the morning. And I also bought skates. So I never skated. Well, I rollerbladed before when I was young, and I never skated before, the one with those 4 wheels. I'm learning how to do those. I'm on YouTube learning about some new things and how to roll and stop and all that stuff. I fell last week. I needed to do that. I think I needed, because I was afraid of falling. That's how you usually are in the beginning of things. It's a new thing, especially on skates, you're afraid to fall. But after that, I'm like, okay, I'm not so afraid. I experienced my first fall. I actually got a bruise on my lower back, but I didn't even know that I had a bruise until after. Like it didn't hurt, but I don't know. That was a good one. I was trying to transition from like front ways to go to the other side, but then when I did that, it's like skates flipped from under me, and then I landed on my back and then kind of rolled over. But it was a good experience. I needed to learn how to fall. I fell. I got back up. I did it again. I tried it again, and I did it. I ended up switching or transferring from one side to the other side. Transitions. That's what they're called. And not perfect, because obviously I'm a baby and I'm pretty much like a toddler learning how to walk. But learning how to skate this time. I'm learning. So it's fun. So things are not perfect right now, but once I keep on doing it, and hopefully I'll get better. So yeah, it's just giving me something else to work on, something else to do, something new. Yeah, so I'm really excited. So hopefully with other things so hopefully since I'm doing other things, it'll give me time to actually start knitting and crocheting again. Yeah, so thank you again for coming by and watching my podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It really helps me out a lot. And also please follow me at Light Dove Knits on Instagram. I do also have a Facebook account. It's called Light and Dove Knits. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for coming by. Hopefully you have a good day, a good night, a good weekend, good week. So see you later and bye.